Hey there, it's Tony with Divi FYI, and today I wanted to show you a really cool plugin and service that I've stumbled upon and decided to invest in. And it may change your life if you work for yourself or for an agency, or for whatever reason you work with clients and you do design on WordPress, and you have a commenting kind of a communication transaction with your clients. And so the service and the plugin that I want to talk about is WP Feedback. Really cool plugin. It's just getting launched. And in fact, to this date, it's actually pending to do its a hard launch soon, but there's early adoption going on as far as kind of buying in early, which is what I've decided to do, because after a quick glance at what they can offer, I do think that it's critically important for a designer and for an agency specifically, or for someone who just wants to really improve their communication with their clients. So what this plugin is it allows a feedback system for users who are logged in and who have access to the site. But you can also set them up as guests too. Essentially anyone that goes to the site can provide feedback. And so I've actually got it pre-installed here onto this domain. And so what it enables you to do is, for anyone who logs in, or again, who's a guest, if you wanted to allow anyone to do this, but I encourage that you have a user so that way you can track this. But there's a enabled feature right here that says give your feedback. So let's click to give your feedback. And what the client will do, if you allow, say this website is done and to the point that it needs to be reviewed and possibly revised on the content, a client will just come into the site and they will tap this feedback option here, and they can select any component that is identified by the plugin to give feedback. So for an example, if this was just not the right text, the client would come in here, they'd tap on that icon right there, they'd click right here, and they would say, change this to, and they can type in whatever notes they want. So the client is able to give direct feedback right onto the site. Then they just click on add comment. And what it does is it leaves this little, so this is a logged in client, hypothetically, it leaves this little bullet right here. And as the developer, as the web designer or agency, you actually get a notification as soon as these comments, these feedback notations get added to your site. And so what it does is it really takes away a lot of the guessing work. If you're like me, you're doing a lot of communication back and forth through email, and a client may come up and say, well, I really want to change that picture on the post about product blank. And you really have a lot of questions on, well, which picture is this on product blank? Is this really product blank? It leaves it a very, very open to interpretation, and that can cause a lot of problems with your communication. And ultimately, since we are heavily bound on relationship building with graphic design or web design, that is, if you don't have a really good communication style and system involved, then it can actually damage your brand, your reputation. It can eliminate getting future leads or future jobs from, if that's a big client. So communication, of course, is huge. It really eases that process. So we've got this little bullet here. Let's just add one more. Maybe this image actually needs to change. You can actually click on that. And what's really cool is this is a new feature. You can just upload an image right there. It says no file chosen, but you can click right there, you can add an image and have it referenced right there for that image, and client would say change this image instead. Now the image is actually uploaded right into the WordPress panel, and so you actually get it directly uploaded into the WordPress media library. which is super convenient because then there's not a lot of let me email you this picture and then you have to do some of the manual work. It goes right into your library. The client actually also has a option to give you a screenshot. And so if maybe the client was right here and they said, this doesn't look right, and they, of course, with a little bit of training early on in this project or your projects with clients, you could let them know how this plugin works, and they'll just go right here, screenshot the current view, and it clips in right there a little screenshot of exactly what was happening in that moment, how it looked for the client. So then you can actually have a immediate reference on what you need to be working on and why it didn't look right. Maybe the CSS isn't, something's going on with that and it just doesn't look right. Now the other thing that's really cool about WP Feedback is that you actually get a lot of details of what the client's seeing. And so if the client's actually adding in a note here and they've left a note, let's scroll back up here. We've got this note. You can actually see the details of it, the resolution that the client was looking at, the browser, the username, IP address, I guess, if you even needed to get down to those details. But you get instant feedback. Now, a big question can be, okay, well, that's great, but how do you get notified? So it actually sends you an email right away as each of these are getting pushed in. You can also get a daily summary, a weekly summary too of these types of tickets, as well as sending it back to the client. So when you make a change, you get notified and you make this change, the client can actually get notified. So let's go ahead and go back and we're going to go to our dashboard here. And you can take a look and see what it looks like on the back. So we'll go to WP Feedback here. And the really cool thing is on WP Feedback is that it is white labeled, and you can actually go in and you can change the logo, you can change the branding color, you can remove a lot of links. You can customize it pretty much to be exactly how you need to for your agency, which is super cool. And it allows very little kind of questioning because when you're trying to build your brand and build relationships with clients, sometimes when you have funky plugins named crazy things, it can be difficult to communicate and explain those types of things. So white labeling is always good. And then this is actually how you see these tasks. So I uploaded these and we can actually just click on these items right here and we can give feedback to the client if maybe we need to go back and forth and communicate a little bit before the changes happen. We can change the status of the task into open, in progress, and complete, or pending review. Set the urgency. A lot of those areas there, you've got your daily reporting and your weekly reporting. And then really cool feature is if you're huge on Zapier, which you probably are, or you've heard of it at least, is that you can integrate it to work with just about any component that's probably critical to your workflow, Trello or Salesforce or any of these other components that really integrate into your business model. Super cool. So again, they're heavily aimed towards agency and kind of a bigger business type of feel. Although if you're a small enough client, even if you're an independent freelancer, I do think that there's a very good use for this tool, and I really am excited about it. It just started, and the owner or the founder, his name is Vito. He actually is very receptive and his team's very receptive to feedback. And so I think that's a really good point in time to jump on board and to take a look at this plugin a little further and maybe contemplate it being put into your workflow. So yeah, just a really brief run through on this on WP Feedback. I really hope that you liked it. I hope that you find this useful. If you have another tool, because there's some others that are similar to this that you find useful, definitely give a shout out. Tell us what works, what doesn't, and why. I'd love to hear it. All right, thanks.